The rain had been falling for hours, turning the dirt road into a ribbon of mud. A single lantern swung from the porch of the old ranch house, throwing shaky light across the wide, empty land. Inside, Thomas Hale, the rancher everyone in town called Silent Tom, sat near the fire with his hat in his hands. He wasn't expecting anyone tonight. No one ever came this far out anymore. Then came the knock, soft, uneven. He stood, boots heavy against the creaking floorboards, and opened the door. A woman stood there, drenched, trembling, her dress clinging to her knees from the storm. Her face was pale under the flickering light. "Please," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Just make it quick." Tom froze. Her words hit him like a hammer. He looked at her hands, no weapon, just a small satchel clutched tight. She looked terrified, not dangerous. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "you hurt." She shook her head, tears mixing with the rain. "I can't go back there. Please, I just need it to end." He didn't understand right away. But something in her eyes told him she wasn't asking for harm, she was asking for mercy, for safety, for an end to her running. Tom stepped aside. "Come in before you freeze to death." She hesitated, then crossed the threshold. The firelight touched her face, young, but with shadows that spoke of long miles and sleepless nights. He poured her some coffee, his hands steady though his mind raced. She sat near the fire, the cup shaking in her fingers. "Name's Clara," she said finally. "I've been walking for days. They'll come looking for me." "Who?" Tom asked. "My husband's men," she said softly. "He owns half the land east of here. He doesn't like being told no." Tom looked at her in silence. The storm outside raged harder, wind pushing rain against the windows. He could have asked more, but he saw enough. Fear, exhaustion, desperation. "You can rest here tonight," he said. "No one will bother you." Clara looked up, surprised. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." Tom poked the fire with the iron rod, sending sparks flying. "Maybe I don't need to know," he said. "You look like someone who hasn't been believed in a long time." For the first time that night, her eyes softened. Hours passed. The rain didn't stop, but the fire burned low. Clara told him little by little, how her husband's temper turned from charm to control, how he locked her away, how she finally ran when he struck a farmhand for offering her help. Tom listened, jaw tight. He'd seen men like that before. Out here, law came slow, and justice came slower. When she finished, she stared at the flames. "You should have left me outside," she said quietly. "He'll come here, too." Tom looked at her, calm and steady. "Then let him. This land's big enough for ghosts and cowards, but not both." The next morning, the sun broke through thin clouds. The ranch looked peaceful again, like the storm had been a bad dream. Clara stepped outside, breathing the cold air. She hadn't slept much, but for the first time in years, she'd felt safe. Tom came out, carrying 2 saddlebags. "I'm taking you to town," he said. "Sheriff can see to your safety. You can start over." She looked at him, startled. "You'd ride with me?" Against him, he nodded. "Ain't about sides. It's about doing what's right." They saddled up. The trail was muddy, but the sky was clear. For hours they rode in silence until they reached the edge of town. But there, near the blacksmith's yard, 3 men waited on horseback, her husband's men. Clara's breath caught. Tom felt her tremble beside him. The men's leader, tall and sharp-eyed, smirked. "We'll be taking her back, rancher. Appreciate your hospitality." Tom didn't reach for his gun. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he turned to Clara. "You said you wanted it to end," he said softly. "Then it ends here, but not the way you think." He rode forward, slow and sure, until he was between her and the men. "She's not your property," he said firmly. "She's free." The men laughed. Big words for one man. Tom's eyes didn't move. "Then you'd best hope one man's enough." Maybe it was the way he said it, or maybe the truth in his tone, but the men hesitated. They saw something in him that didn't break. After a long, tense silence, the leader spat to the side, turned his horse, and rode off. The others followed. When the dust settled, Clara sat still, unable to speak. The tears that fell this time weren't from fear, they were from relief. Tom dismounted and helped her down. "It's over," he said. She looked at him, voice trembling. "You could have been killed. Why would you do that for me?" He smiled faintly, adjusting his hat. "Because you asked me to make it quick," he said. "But what you really meant was, make it stop. And I did." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The town was quiet, the air calm after the storm. Clara looked toward the horizon, where the sky turned gold. "Where will you go now?" he asked. She took a deep breath. "Anywhere that isn't here. Maybe west. Maybe start a little farm. I used to love the smell of wheat." Tom nodded. "Then go where the wind's kind." She smiled, tears glinting in the sunlight. "Thank you, Mr. Hale, for doing the unthinkable." He tipped his hat, watching her walk away down the dirt road. The wind tugged at her shawl, but her steps were steady. As she disappeared into the distance, Tom turned back toward his ranch. The land stretched wide and silent, but for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel empty. It felt right, and somewhere beyond the hills, a new beginning waited, for both of them.